If you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip? Yo. His palms are sweaty, knees weak, arms are heavy. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom's spaghetti, he's nervous, but on the surface he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. But he keeps on forgetting what he wrote down. The whole crowd goes so loud, he opens his mouth, but the words won't come out. He's choking how? Everybody's choking now. The clock's run out, time's up, over, loud. Snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes rabbit. He choke. He's so mad, but he won't give up. Daddies, he know he won't have it. He knows his whole back to these ropes. It don't matter, he's dope. He knows that, but he's broke. He's so stacked that he knows when he goes back to this mobile home, that's when it's back to the lab again, yo. This old rhapsody better go back to this moment and hope it don't pass him.
Listen, we can talk about the flag, but let's talk about... Wait.
And a very good morning to everybody, and welcome to Trending AM right here on PSN Media Live, as always, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You know the drill. Retweet, shares, like, thumbs up, subscribes. They all go a long way to helping us to spread and get as many people watching in the mornings as we can. I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, joined by my main man, Jason Voorhees at Mustaine3651, and kind of sort of joining us in the black and the dark is our man, Mark Moscatelli. Mark, way to see. Good morning, gentlemen. Happy Memorial Day to both of you. Nope. Mark already. It's all right. Mark's in his car trying to join us. He forgot, family obligations. He's such a busy guy, he forgot, So he's going to be jumping in and out as the day goes. We'll see how that goes. But good morning, Jason, and happy Memorial Day to you.
Happy Memorial Day.
Yeah. Happy Memorial Day. Memorial Day is... everybody thinks Memorial Day. Oh, there he is. And look at that. Now we got the sunny in the background there, Mark Moscatelli.
I'm probably not going to be on the show for long, but I did want to stop in and just wish you guys a very solemn Memorial Day. Remember, we don't go Happy Memorial Day. It's a day of solemn and reflection.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just, as you jump back in, that's about what I was going to say. Everybody says Happy Memorial Day. We think of it about barbecues, going to the beach and fireworks and stuff like that. But it really is a day to remember those that gave the sacrifice so that we can have the barbecues, so that we can have parades and everything else. Look, I think you're at a parade right now, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll be walking in a parade in about 30 minutes. So, yeah.
Make sure you tell every single person in that parade route to subscribe to DSM Media on the YouTube page.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to wave my banner and everything.
And hand out some election tickets, right?
Oh, stop!
Got to make sure Yeah.
Do you want to go see the mayor? The mayor's right over there in the white shirt. I don't know if you can see him. He's over.
Are you trying to get the mayor on DSM Media right now?
I could try to get him on. Pete's a good guy.
Yeah. Anyway, we're having a little lighter of a show today. It is Memorial Day, like I said. We are going to talk Phillies Day. It is Overreaction Monday. While it is Memorial Day and, we didn't have to do a show today, it is Overreaction Monday. So there was no way we weren't going to do this show today. After the Phillies fell 10.5 games out of first place this weekend by getting swept by the Mets, we will get into Memorial Day talk and what it means and all that kind of stuff later. But we have to start, guys, talking Phillies. And, Jason, I told you before the show, before we went live, that we were talking about it, and I said it on this show 3-4 weeks ago. The Phillies will be 10-plus games out of first place before June 1st. I did not want to be right. I thought that was just an overreaction statement. But it seems like that's right. We are 10.5 games out. It is May 30th. Dude, this is a total and complete. I know we haven't made the playoffs since 2011. But to me, where this team is at this year is probably more disappointing and more underwhelming than any of the last 10, 11 years of Phillies baseball. Jason?
I mean, I don't know how you can't agree with that statement when it's the first time ever in the history of the team they went over the tax. Like, it's mind-boggling to me. It's mind-boggling where this team is right now.
Joe still has a job at this point. Mark, is it the worst team that we've seen, at least underperforming wise, in the last 10, 11 years?
It is a flat underperforming team, and they keep going to Joe Girardi and saying, "Well, Joe, what's going on?" He goes, "We'll turn it around. We'll turn it around." He's not going to turn it around. He's done. And Jay, I saw all your texts in the group chat. Like, you're fired up, and more fans need to be fired up about that. I just the team has no life. The team has no life whatsoever, and it's starting to crack out. I think it was Phillies Nation posted some sort of article about there's certain player family members have been texting their players that are on the team that hey, I noticed there's no life out there, and they're admitting to it. That's a problem. I mean, Joe's lost the team. Something's got to give. You can't trade these guys. You got to cut it off from the top. You got to get rid of Joe. He's got to be gone by this afternoon. I got to be honest with you.
What time is today? I know we're playing the Giants today on Memorial Day. Is it an afternoon game or is it a?
I think it's a 4:05 game tonight.
4:05 game. We your dad's Big Ed's checking and saying, "Is Joe still have a job?" I mean, you're right. I mean, we should get news by 1 or 2 o'clock today that Joe Girardi has been fired. We should. Will we? I don't know. It's kind of hard to imagine firing a coach before an afternoon game, but something has to give.
They're going to be booed mercilessly. You know what I mean? They're going to be booed like hell at the game today because of what happened last night. Like it just. I mean,
last night, what happened the last week and a half, the last 2 weeks? It's not just last night. We talk about Joe. Look, firing Joe Girardi is not going to change the 25 guys on the roster.
Well, that's where I want to go with this, because I honestly, the more I think about it, listen, the change is needed, and obviously the manager's got to go. I'm absolutely in that corner. Mm-hmm. But this team, this is a culture problem, and this culture has been a problem a lot longer than Girardi's been around. This culture has been a problem since probably 2012, 2013. Every single year, it doesn't matter who the manager is. It's the same players, and it's something going on in that building. Like, I don't know what it is. I don't have an answer for it. But from the top on down, starting with John Middleton, this team is just screwed up royally. And the biggest problem I see with the Phillies in that locker room, not only with the manager, but when I talk about the culture, it's player development. It seems like every single player that's come here has gotten worse. I don't see one player that has gotten better under any of these managers, under Gabe Kapler, under Girardi, under McCannon. I don't see anybody come here and become a stud. Maybe Zach Wheeler might be the one outlier. Bryce Harper was already a great player. He won an MVP where he was, and yes, now he's playing the same way. He hasn't necessarily gotten better. Kyle Schwarber comes here, all of a sudden he looks like a total buffoon, like a waste of signing. Nick Castellanos, I think that was the one guy I liked that they signed. I don't know what is going on there. I don't have an answer.
Here's the thing. So
it's more than the manager.
You're talking about the development of players, but all the guys you're naming that haven't gotten better weren't Philly. Like, it's not like they came through our system.
Yeah, but development doesn't necessarily mean young guys. I'm talking about development meaning somebody's here, and under Joe's watch, the team's not getting better.
But there's a point to this. So during the Phillies run, we could even count it from 06. We don't even have to start in 08. We could start 06 to 2011. If there was a problem, if Charlie Manuel was slightly losing touch, or if there was a bad stretch, you had guys in that locker room. You had guys in that locker room that were homegrown, that were respected by everybody. Who in our locker room is going to step up and say, enough's enough? Yo. And that's the problem. We don't have a leader in the clubhouse outside of, we have the actual manager, Joe Girardi, but we don't have an actual play. Every team in every sport has one or two guys on their team. We know Joel Embiid is the leader of the Sixers. We know Jalen Hurts, whether he's a great quarterback or not, he is the leader, and he commands the attention of that locker room. People listen to him talk. We don't have that with the Phillies. There's not one person. You don't see Bryce Harper going in there flipping tables, cussing and screaming and shouting. Nick Castellanos already looks like a typical Philadelphia Philly, whatever kind of attitude. And he's only been here for 2 months. That's the problem with the Phillies, is that no matter how bad the coach is, no one else is stepping up in his place to motivate these guys. Sorry, Mark, go ahead.
No, so there's a couple things. You mentioned culture. The culture changed when John Middleton took primary control over the ownership of the team. He blew out a lot of the old guard that was there and took away the family feel that organization had, and it's morphed into what we have. Secondly, you do have a guy in the locker room, and that is Bryce Harper, and he needs to be the vocal leader that needs. But you're right, they don't have a guy on that team like the '93 Phillies had a bulk of guys that could lead. Like, they are in desperate need of a guy like Darren Dalton. I mean, really, to really set this club straight and get them organized and get them where they need to be, and it's just not there. It pains me to say it, is Bryce Harper part of the culture problem? I really don't want to say that, but is he part of the culture problem? He's got the 13-year deal, and he personal accolades aside, what has he really done to really help bring this team together and lead this team?
Look. Bryce Harper is the best player on this team right now. He's the reigning MVP. I'm not suggesting anything, but I did say it the day he was signed. We talked about it last year, me and Jason were talking it before we went live on the air today. At what point, I'm not saying you should trade Bryce Harper, but I've been preaching. It's Overreaction Monday, guys. So let's overreact. At what point, with the whole, you have to take a step back before you take 2 steps forward. At what point do you consider moving Bryce Harper? And B, at what point does Bryce Harper say, I want out of town? He hasn't yet. We're not at that point of moving him. But at what point is it time to consider? Because let's be honest, Bryce Harper's not going to stay here for 13 years and accept mediocrity for 13 years. He's got the personal accolades. He doesn't have that World Series title. That's what he wants. So what point is that happening?
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell you when it's going to happen. Watch the Oakland Athletics, and when they move to Las Vegas, that's what's going to happen. As soon as he gets to Vegas, they're going to find a way to get him over there to Vegas. He's from there, and he still has his home there, and I wouldn't fault that. But you maybe got one or two more seasons of Bryce until they get their footing down in Las Vegas, and he's going to demand, if the team still remains this broken culture, this mediocrity, he's going to demand a trade to home. It's the way it's going to be. And guess what? The MLB will do anything in their power to help him get there, to get a star player in that Las Vegas market.
That's a really interesting thought there. I don't know how serious that whole Oakland to Vegas thing really is. So that's why I really wasn't thinking about that. Jason, at what point does this all go down? Because I can foresee it. I foresaw it the day he was signed. The day he was signed, I was sitting poolside on a cruise ship, and I got the text notification that Bryce Harper signed with the Phillies. I stood up and cheered. And then 3 seconds later, I said to myself, if we don't win in X amount of years, he's going to want out. So at what point does that overreaction of losing Bryce Harper happen? Because let's be honest, we trade Bryce Harper, or if he demands a trade, we're basically going back into full rebuild mode at that point, because you're giving away your biggest star.
Well, I mean, personally, I don't even think they're close to that yet. But what I do think is
overreaction Monday.
No, but I do think that you can look at the blueprint that's been made. I mean, you look at around sports leagues, not just baseball, but sports leagues in general, where players command and demand trades and want out of where they're at. I mean, we just had a guy that we picked up here, James Harden, that's been friggin' 3 times in the last 3 years, demanded out. So I don't want to hear that Bryce Harper's under contract. Contracts are made to be broken, especially in baseball, especially in sports. Okay, if Bryce Harper wants out, he'll find a way to get out. Like, I have people telling me, "Oh, he's under contract." Okay, and what does that mean? The guy could sit here and specifically say, I love playing in Philly. I want to be here. But he's not going to accept playing here for 13 years and not win a title and not get better. And this team, so far in this time that he's been here, in fact, at this point, I would say they've went backwards. Under Kapler, at least they were, semi-contending. I mean, they only, finished 3 games out?
Were we ever 10.5 games out under Gabe Kapler?
I don't know.
Because he's coming to town today. Were we ever 10.5 games out under Gabe Kapler? I don't think so.
I mean, this is ridiculous, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, I could sit here and say, okay, they're underperforming and everybody's having, a career worst year. But, dude, are we going to say that every time with this team? It feels that way. It feels like coming into the year, I was saying, well, there's a lot of what ifs. What if this guy does this? And what if that? Like, it's funny because the guys that people were questioning are actually doing better. Aaron Nola has actually looked pretty good.
Look at Mark. He's got us on in the parade route now. Look at that. DSM Media, trending in the AM, in the whatever town. What is it? Manitoba?
We're down in Mantua Township, Winona, Mantua Township Memorial Day parade. So this is like my 10th parade that I've walked in. So I'm in the parade now. It has just started. Fire Joe today by the time the game starts. And guys, I got to head out, but thank you for having me on for like 15 minutes today.
Yeah, hey, thanks for joining us. Enjoy the walk there. And, make sure everyone in that parade is subscribing to watch DSM Media.
Absolutely. I'll wave my flag today.
There you go, bro.
See you later,
thanks a lot, Mark.
All right,
thanks. Bye. All right, so Mark's out, but still me and you here, Jason. So, I want to backtrack off the Bryce Harper point for a few moments, okay? Because obviously there's still, like you said, John Middleton went over the tax for the first time. We're still in May. If you fire Joe Girardi, can that create the spark to get these? Because let's be honest, Corey Knievel blew another save last night, but he's still a really good pitcher. Let's see who else. Zach Eflin. People still love Zach Eflin. I don't. Whatever. Bryce Harper. Some of these other guys, Schwarber, Castellanos. Will they start hitting? Will the defense get the problems with this team? Will firing Joe Girardi fix any of those problems? And I'm not saying keep Joe Girardi. He's got to go right now. I keep refreshing Twitter, hoping the news breaks while we're on the air right now. It's not yet, but will firing him change any of the problems?
Well, let's look at it by layer. So I don't think that firing Joe Girardi will fix the inconsistency of the lineup. I think it could fix the inconsistency of the lineup, the way the lineup is set. Having a set lineup would be a start for me, a starting point to turning around maybe the team becoming more consistent, as far as output on a daily basis.
Right.
I don't think firing the manager is going to all of a sudden make this team a contender. Mm-hmm. I do think firing the manager will kind of light a spark initially, but it's what the players do afterwards that will determine whether they can, make up some ground or if they're going to just stay mired in mediocrity and end up being one of the worst teams in the league. Because you nailed it. It's really not just the manager. It's the lack of leadership. We talked about this on previous shows. Mark stole my thunder, but that's okay. I love Mark, and I'm glad he did. But he's right. I always go back to the 93 Phillies. Like, that team was built on leaders. Now, I'm not saying
that was the definition of lack of talent. There was not that much talent.
Well, exactly. So, and I get it. Not every team is going to be blessed with that much type of, that many type of leaders. Mm-hmm. But you need at least one or two. And the Phillies don't have any. And it's a shame because you wish that Bryce Harper was that guy, but personality-wise, he's just not. Mm-hmm. Like, it's funny because everyone looks at Bryce Harper as this, like, I think people look at him wrong. Like, because if you ever hear him interviewed, he's very like humble and very like he's very slow with his words. He's not like this brash guy. Like everyone looks at Bryce Harper, the figure, the good looking guy, built,
It's
can
home
hit a
runs.
baseball,
Yeah.
a mile away. And I
Long,
think they
flowing
look at him
locks
as like
in
this
hair.
figure as like, wow, that's like this brash guy. I mean, women love him, but
Mhm.
like he's not like on the inside, like he's almost like he's like
He's introverted.
yeah, exactly. And
He's an introverted guy. He is not. People
he's
assume he
not
has
the
to be a
kind of
leader.
player that's gonna come out and be like, yo, wake up. So unfortunately, you thought that Nick Castellanos coming here. Like I looked at him as like, wow, that's the guy I want on my team. Like, a guy that gets down and dirty. But maybe Nick Castellanos is the same. Maybe he's not that guy. So unfortunately, it seems like we're chasing who is the guy? Like, who's gonna step up?
Everybody goes, after last night or after Saturday night or after Friday night or any of these losses.
It's gonna happen.
Everybody's going into the locker room looking at each other for somebody because they look at their manager and they get nothing. We'll get him tomorrow. So they look around the locker room at each other and they're like, well, who's going to step up? And everybody's looking to each other to step up, but nobody wants to step up because just like this team is full of streaky hitters or inconsistent pitchers, this team is full of, there's no general in the locker room. There's no leader, and they're all looking to each other to be the leader. Problem is, no one's willing to make that bold move to step up, and that's why if you want to salvage this year, if you fire Joe Girardi today or tomorrow or whatever it may be, who you always have to ask who you're going to have step up on an interim basis. I don't know if he's got it in him, but Larry Boa would be the guy because Dusty Watton is just part of the same old analytic crew. He was in the minor league system. He's been on our bench for a while. He's too buddy. Larry Boa is the type of guy that will go in there. If he has to flip a table, he will. If he has to call a player out, he won't be afraid to do it. I don't think he's got it in him to even coach from today through the end of the season. Let's be honest, he's what, 75? He's pushing 80 years old, Larry Boa. Does he have it in him to do it for an entire season? I don't know. But you need somebody that's going to not be afraid to hold people accountable. And in the current locker room, the only person that's there would be Larry. But I would think Charlie Manuel, but Charlie Manuel's got some health issues, and he's not around very often. I don't know if Jimmy Rollins wants to. Jimmy Rollins would definitely not be afraid to speak his mind in that locker room. But I don't know. So you need somebody. And even Larry Boa, he's there almost every single day. Why isn't he would it be overstepping his boundaries of Joe Girardi to kind of rally the troops? But something's got to give leadership-wise. Because, again, there is talent on this team. Some. Not as much as people think, but there is talent. They are a better on paper team than what are they, 21-27 now? Is that what their record is? I don't even know. I stopped counting their record like 2 or 3 days ago. Yeah, 21-27. They're better than 21-27 on paper. So it's simple leadership. Whether it's the manager, whether it's the players, it's anybody. Somebody leading them. Somebody. You talk about 93. Anybody on that Phillies team, just pick any random name. Mickey Morandini, Mariano Duncan, Kim Batiste, Milt Thompson. They were afraid to disappoint Darren Dalton because they didn't want to disappoint him. There's nobody on this team that would, like Corey Knebel blows a save last night. Damn, I'm scared, man. JT Realmuto is going to pull me aside and dress me down for screwing that game up. Who had the error last night? Let me pull the box score up. The big error last night was
Odubel?
Somebody had an error. I thought maybe it was Saturday night. Someone had a big error this weekend against the Mets that turned the tides of a game.
Was it Odubel?
That was the one between the legs was last series against the Braves. But okay, Odubel. You can use that. Odubel makes a boneheaded mistake in the outfield. Who's going to pull him aside in the locker room or in that dugout and be like, yo, get your head in the game and out of your ass right now? Nobody.
See, this is where it's hard for me to understand. And you're a business owner, Phil, so you own a business. Maybe you could speak to it, but I'm in the camp that this is where if I was, I'm just saying, me personally, if I was John Middleton and I own this team, this is where I would step in and I would say, Joe, get rid of Odubel. Absolutely, that guy's got to go today. Gone. See it.
He might be.
And if Joe didn't, then he'd be gone. Because you have that power as an owner, but it seems like John Middleton doesn't get involved in anything other than just spending the paycheck, which that to me shows me, does he really give a shit? I mean, we talk about the Sixers and how their lack of, empathy for the fans and how they really don't care less about, whether they have a good product on the court. Like Josh Harris is just tone deaf to the fact that, these fans really care. Is John Middleton just some guy that just doesn't really care and realistically only cares about turning his money? It's hard for me to say because I know this is that he did go over the tax, and okay, you could say, well, that's an example of he does care. But was it really a smart idea to go over the tax in the way that they did when you signed a guy like Kyle Schwarber, who realistically, if you looked at his track record, like it wasn't like anything super special to the point where I'm going to say, wow, they really hit a home run on that signing. Right. It's almost like they only signed him because they had to sign somebody. Like they had to go over the tax.
They didn't think they were going to get Castellanos.
Well, yeah, exactly. And because the Mets did this year better than any year that previous as far as them spending money, like getting Scherzer. And it's almost like John Middleton looked at it and was like, well, I really have to do this now because the fans are going to yell at me. It's not like he wanted to do it.
They're going to yell at me.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, like,
I get what you're saying.
It feels like they just did it for the sake of doing it and not like actually having a plan in place and saying, well, let's sign this guy. Like, it's almost like they just, let's just sign the best two guys and call it a day. And that's not a good plan. Like,
so, I want to back you mentioned Odubel, and I put out a tweet about a week ago like this, and I think it's going to be an issue because it seems like whether it's today or tomorrow, Mickey Moniak's going to get the call back to the big club. And he's good. If he's activated today, he's going to be your starting center fielder today. If he's activated tomorrow, he's going to be your starting center fielder tomorrow, whatever it may be. Do they send down Roman Quinn or Odubel? Hopefully they send down Odubel, which is pathetic me thinking that I'd rather Roman Quinn on my team than Odubel Herrera. But, excuse me, I put out this tweet about a week ago. I feel bad. And I'm worried for Mickey Moniak. Mickey Moniak had zero pressure in camp this year. Zero pressure in the minor. He was being put in a position around this superstar team where he could thrive and play pressure-free baseball to see if he could develop. Now, him coming off the DL based off of the spring training he had, and he's raking down there in his rehab assignment. He's been just tearing the ball off. They had him in Clearwater. They had him in Reading and in AAA Lehigh over his rehab stint. And he hit the ball at all three levels. There's going to be so much pressure on Mickey Moniak, 23, I think he is, to be the savior of this team. And that's unfortunate because he's not ready to be the savior of the team. But he's going to have to be at this point. And will his youthful energy, ignite the locker room? That's impossible for him to be that guy. It's insane. But I feel bad for Mickey. Because I've always wanted to see Mickey survive or to thrive, and I always thought he had the potential. There's a lot of pressure today or tomorrow, whenever it is, for him to be a star right away.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Phil. I think he will have a lot more pressure, but obviously he's not a savior, and nor
you know that.
I think. Honestly, even if he struggles, he'll be better than what we've had in center field. Like I really believe that with my heart on heart. I think he'll hit 270, 280, and he's gonna actually have. I think he's gonna do well.
I hope so.
My concern are guys like I'm gonna tell you, and I'm calling him out, and maybe I have a bug up my ass for this guy, but Rhys Hoskins. I mean, Rhys Hoskins to me is the epitome of mediocrity and a guy that's overrated, especially in this town. Like the way that some people look at Rhys Hoskins, it reminds me of how people were with the Flyers with Travis Konechny. Like they still say, "Oh, he has talent." It's if some Flyers fans like Travis Konechny, he's great. He's great. No, he's not. He had one good year and he just hasn't progressed. Now, like I said, maybe that's the Phillies organizational fault and the fact that they don't develop their players. But, Rhys Hoskins should be much further along in his progression by now. And to me, there's no excuse. He is a guy.
There's no more progression for Rhys Hoskins.
But that's what I mean. But he is a guy, and I'm not saying that there's a lot of trade value there, but he's a guy that I would look to move because I think he's part of the culture problem. He's been here for a while. And I just don't like his attitude. I don't know, man. Maybe it's just me having a bug up my ass.
No.
But I think
it's very valid. I mean, like I said,
absolutely.
I was watching one of the games this weekend, and I think it was Saturday because it was on Fox, and they were talking up about Rhys Hoskins. And actually, I never did it. Let me as I'm talking, let me try to pull up Rhys Hoskins' career numbers. And they were just talking and so highly of Rhys Hoskins and how he's in a slump, but he'll always get out of it because he always does. Let me see here. They're right on that. I mean, he struggles, but somehow by the end of the season, always ends up over 800 OPS on base and slugging percentage combined. Always. He always ends up with 20-plus home runs and 70, 80 RBIs. But it's how he gets there. That's the problem. Rhys Hoskins, I mean, he's been with the club for 6 years now. And he is who he is at this point. We don't need to see any more of Rhys Hoskins. But the problem is you say trade him, but realistically, you're not going to get anything for Rhys Hoskins. He's like a pot sweetener in another deal. You're making a deal, you're trading somebody, and then you're sweetening the pot by throwing Rhys Hoskins in there.
Well, I don't know. I would do some kind of deal with like him and Nola for like a package,
And see,
I don't know. I hate to say it.
You're going to upset fans by saying you're willing to trade Aaron Nola. I'm literally. There's not one player on this team. So like the Sixers, if you said we got to make a big move this offseason, I'm saying, all right, we'll trade anybody not named Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. Is there any one player that played this weekend for the Phillies against the Mets when we got swept? Is there one player that you are 110% going to say, no, I would not trade them?
Yeah, I mean, there's three. Harper, Castellanos, and Boone. Anybody else can go. JT include.
I strongly my overreaction money statement is I'm not saying I'm advocating.
You just signed Castellanos. You're not trading him.
I know you're not going to trade him, but if the Phillies said we are trading them, I'd be like, all right, we'll see what the package is that we're getting. I mean, I'm not gonna if you traded Joel Embiid tomorrow, I'm gonna freak out.
I don't want to trade Alec Boehm because I think Alec Boehm is the best prospect that you have on the team, and I don't want to trade a guy.
Is that the end of this Phillies organization if you trade him? Is it gonna? What's Alec Boehm doing for us right now? He's actually in a slump right now. He's hitting 280 in the two-hole.
Slumps happen, but his slump is a lot less. I
know, but I think you're misunderstanding me here. I'm just trying to say there's a difference between do I want to trade them and will I freak out if they are traded? I will not freak out if Alec Boehm got traded. Do I want to trade Alec Boehm? No. I want to see him develop because what did I say earlier?
I got you. What you're saying is there any untouchables? Yeah,
there's no untouchable on this team, in my opinion. Do I want to trade Harper? Absolutely not. Do I want to trade Boehm or Castellanos? Absolutely not. I don't want to trade Wheeler or Nola.
I think Zach Wheeler is an untouchable for me, only because Zach Wheeler is phenomenal, and he really is one of. He is one of the probably the top 5 pitchers in baseball. Like, I don't want to trade Zach Wheeler.
He can probably get you the biggest return on anybody on this team. I keep saying you got to take a step back with this team, whether it's firing the coach, whether it's trading players, whether it's changing this culture and fire. Someone in the comments said earlier, should Dombrowski be fired? I don't think so yet. He hasn't really. He's been spending his 2 years here trying to fix all of Klentak's and McPhail's mistakes instead of actually doing anything. Does Boehm want to be here? We already know he doesn't like this place, so I don't know. Does anybody want to be here? Does anybody on this team truly want to be in Philadelphia right now? And someone like Castellanos, if he would say, no, I don't want to be here, it's more the negative energy around the team right now. But there is nobody that is a complete untouchable. And that's because the culture, the organization, everything is blown up. That's why Joe Girardi's got to get fired today. Hold on, let me refresh Twitter again. Let me go click to the top of the screen on Twitter. Let's see.
I'm
He has not been fired yet.
No, and I'm at the point where everybody's going to be insanely disappointed because Joe Girardi's not going to get fired. Dombrowski already said it. And this is why I'm like, I'm at the point where I don't even care anymore. I'm at the point where it's become, for the first time the other day when I had the ability to watch, I didn't watch the Phillies for the first time this year. And that took me a while. I mean, you saw what I did with the Flyers.
You're what, 45 years old? 46, 44?
Yeah, 45.
You're a few years older than me. I'm 41. I cannot remember a Phillies team with this much talent on it that I stopped watching 7 to 9 innings of baseball this early in the season. And because you know what? There were many worse teams than this, even in the last 10, 11 years. But there was some fight to those teams. You thought maybe they'll put some effort out there. It's just the lack of effort. I talk about body language all the time. The body language of this team, if they don't care to be there and playing, why should I care about spending my free time watching them? I just don't care to watch baseball.
I have two L words for them besides losers.
Okay.
Lifeless and lackadaisical.
Yeah. And losers.
Exactly the
3 L's.
Yeah.
They have the 3 L's. The 3 L's. 36-56. I'm writing that down. We're going to clip that part out. The 3 L's. This Phillies team is lazy, lackadaisical, and losers. It's pathetic.
They have a loser mentality, and that starts with the manager. Yeah, it's exactly the manager. Because if he had a winning attitude, he sure as hell would be coming out more fired up in these press conferences instead of saying, we're going to turn it around. Dude.
We should have Big Ed on, was this worse than 60? I mean, all right, look, obviously 64 was awful. But did you have the same feeling as you feel now? Like, that was just a collapse. This just feels like not even a collapse. That I kind of feel at this point that they've been out of it since day one. You shouldn't feel out of it after game 1 or 2 of a season. And we're now at game, 48, 20, 21, 27, 48 games into the season. All right, that's not a small sample size. That's enough to know that this team is not good. And I like I said, firing Joe Girardi isn't going to be the answer. He probably won't. Look, Dombrowski said he's not going to. Dombrowski's going to have a freaking presidential speechwriter write his speech when he announces he fired him, because otherwise he'll look like he went back on his word and he is contradicting himself. He would look bad as the president of this team if he goes out and fires Joe Girardi today and says, well, it was time or whatever. So he probably won't do it for that reason. But something has to happen. If we go through this entire season with Joe Girardi and we finish this season 79 and 83, 75 and whatever, even 81, 81, they're going to lose a lot of fans. Baseball's already a struggling sport to an extent. They're going to lose a lot of fans. I would love to know what NBC Sports Philadelphia's TV ratings are for this team right now. They can't be good because people are not tuning in to watch this team play games.
Did you see Barkan go off the other night?
Oh, my God. I feel bad for Barkan because Barkan, I mean, he's the lifeblood of those pre- and post-game shows for all teams. And, dude, I feel bad for Barkan. I feel bad for Ricky Bowe, Ben Davis, Ruben Amaro.
Bowe's going to have a stroke, dude.
He's literally going to have a stroke.
I know. On live TV. Like, honestly, it's mind-boggling, dude. It really is mind-boggling how you could put together, this high of a payroll and have a team that just doesn't give a shit. And it's sad. It is, because the expectations that this team had this year were so high. Like, including for me and you.
No, I mean I had them at 82 wins, so 82 to 88 wins. So
when I say high, I mean everyone thought we were going to have this like elite offense and all, all kinds of home runs. And it's just,
Can we talk for 1 second about how everybody thought we were going to have an elite season from Zach Eflin, except for me? And Zach Eflin again proves, dude, did you see the people coming in my mentions when I tweeted that out?
Dude, you got trashed. And it's
the F4 says that he's a really good pitcher. I don't give a crap about those crappy ass analytic stats.
F4.
You can put an analytic stat to its Fangraph wins above a replacement. I don't even know what the frick that means. I don't care.
Your ass.
The guy's got a 4.65 ERA. He's been inconsistent his entire. Dude, we bashed from day one Vince Velasquez. And why were the Phillies giving him that leash? But yet, Zach Eflin is not much better than Vince Velasquez. But yet the fans give him this leash longer than my dog leash when I'm walking out. I mean, he's literally 40 feet away from me walking across the yard. Zach Eflin's got that kind of a leash. It's insane. Because the analytics stats say eventually he's going to be good. He's been on this roster for 7 years.
Zach Eflin is Phil's Reese Hoskins.
No, I like the guy. He's a nice guy. But he is not we want you think this you thought you or Mark said like 90, 92 wins or something? Zach Eflin is not a starting pitcher on a 92 win baseball team. He's just not.
Well,
he's a starting pitcher when he would have fit in perfectly with the 89, 90, 91 Phillies or the 96, 97 Phillies. Bad teams have bad pitchers on them.
When I did that prediction, I also thought there would be a trade for a pitcher, but that's
not
happening either.
Hey, look, Zach Eflin, for some reason, gets this insane leash because analytic stats say someday he's going to be a good pitcher. That's why analytic stats sometimes are a complete load of bullshit. Your ERA, your win. I know wins and losses don't really matter for starting pitchers as much anymore, but your team's win-loss record in those games count. Your ERA counts. Your WHIP still counts. Your strikeouts, he strikes out some guys, sure, but the guy just does not have that competitive edge when your team needs you to go out and pitch a gem. He pitches a clunker. He's going to have
He's the epitome of the entire Phillies culture.
Organization. Or whole organization.
Inconsistent is the one word we can use, and we'll use it 100 times a day about this team. And that's the word that matches. They are inconsistent. Absolutely. There'll be days where they come out and you're like, wow, this is the team that, remember a couple weeks ago when they had that stretch on the West Coast, they won like 4 or 5 games and they put up like monster numbers. And we're like, oh, they're back. And it's like, okay, it was fleeting. It happened for like 3 days and it was basically vanished. And that's the persona of this team. Inconsistent. And they've been inconsistent since 2011.
Yeah.
There has not been excitement other than the first maybe 3 to 4 games this year down at that ballpark like there was back in 2011. And it's sad because fans are frustrated. But we thought that this was the year. I mean, everyone did. You go over the tax, you expect that you're going to be better. I demand better. We deserve better.
We do.
I mean, it's bullshit. Sorry.
I'm frustrated. I don't want to not look. So a little personal thing to people watching. I wanted to do this morning show because for 2 reasons. One, I always wanted to have my own show. I'm never going to get a job at WIP. Well, you never know. Or the Fanatic. They're the dream jobs for every sports fan. But I was never going to get that. So I wanted to be able to come on and talk sports every day. And just have fun, hang out with my boy Jason, hang out with guests, whatever. Have a voice to say my opinion and give a voice to the people. Okay? I want the people to have a voice and not be shrugged off by, crappy-ass hosts that have been in the business for 40 years that call you names and stuff like that. That was reason 1 I did this morning show. Reason 2 was because I was so excited for baseball season to be able to come on this show and recap and preview Phillies games day in and day out. Because in football season, it's once a week. And you spend the 5 days talking 1 or 2 games. Basketball season's every other day, every third day, sometimes, whatever. It's not every day. Baseball's every day. I was so excited to do this show for one reason, to talk Phillies every single day. And you know what? I don't even want to talk to Phillies anymore. They have completely sucked the energy out of me. And we're only May 30th right now. We're not even close to the halfway point yet. Does firing the manager solve this? I don't know. Probably not. But
This is like so similar to me with the Flyers. Like, it's the same thing. I had high expectations of the Flyers. So did a lot of Flyers fans. Like, Chuck Fletcher went out and made all these moves. Flyers were supposed to be back. Like, maybe not cup contender, but, vying for a playoff spot. And look what happened. Same thing. The energy just dropped out of that thing, and they just shit the bed.
And look, you can speak on it more than me. Firing the manager didn't solve their problems.
It did.
It didn't change anything. But you know what? It was the start, maybe this offseason things change. You don't need to wait till the offseason to fire Joe Girardi.
Well, you shouldn't. At this point,
if
you wait to fire Joe Girardi to the end of the season, you're going to be one of the worst teams in baseball, and it's just going to be more and more times like me and you coming on here pissed off and angry and bitching and moaning.
I mean, it's May. It's May. It's still May, and I'm looking forward to football season starting so I can just get back to talking football every day because I don't really care about the Phillies anymore. And tomorrow's show, I got football ideas on the agenda. We might touch on if Joe Girardi gets fired today or they get beat really bad or win. We'll talk a little Phillies tomorrow. But I got football on the agenda for tomorrow. Because honestly, at this point, I don't care. They have sucked it out of me. The reason I did this show to talk baseball, it's gone. I got nothing left. Nothing. Gone. Do you got anything else to say? Because I'm going to move on to a different topic here. If you got nothing left to say here.
No, the only thing I have to say is John Middleton do the right thing. Please.
And while you're saying that,
relieve Joe of his duties.
Yeah, I'm refreshing Twitter one more time. Yep, no, he still has not been fired yet. No, God damn.
Please,
anyway,
John, do the right thing.
John, do the right thing. Give us something to celebrate. Yeah. So today's Memorial Day, right, Jason? And Mark said it perfectly. It's not supposed to be Happy Memorial Day. It's supposed to be a somber Memorial Day. Because Memorial Day is a day to honor those that gave the ultimate sacrifice, so that we can enjoy hosting the show every morning, so that we can enjoy barbecues and fireworks and stuff like that. I saw an interesting tweet yesterday, and it made me think about it too, because we shouldn't be just remembering those that gave their life, but we should also be remembering the soldiers that came back wounded, the soldiers that came back with mental health issues, the soldiers that are now homeless because they could not, reacclimate to life. This country needs to do more to thank our soldiers that come home and help them, massively. Do you have? I don't know what I don't even know how to fully articulate that thought. I saw the tweet. It got me thinking last night, and I just wanted to make sure I brought that up because, soldiers give a lot, and some of them don't die, but they still come back pretty messed up, with a lot of issues, and we need to do more as a culture and as a country and as people to take care of them.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's probably one of the most, egregious things that this country allows, and it's the fact that these folks, as you mentioned, like they're putting their lives on the line. Some of them are going through horrific tragedies and horrific traumatic experiences that they're living through, and then they come back and it's basically like, okay, throw them to the wolves, like, and it's not right. It's not. There absolutely needs to be reform in that area. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah. I was watching Band of Brothers last night. Have you seen Band of Brothers, Jason?
I haven't. I wanted to, but
so Band of Brothers is a fantastic story of the 101st Airborne, and their trek across Europe to help in the invasion. They were key in the Normandy invasion and stuff like that. There's books on it, there's documentaries on it. But Band of Brothers, it was done by Playtone Production. That's Tom Hanks's production company. He also did one called The Pacific on the Pacific War, which is also it does not get the credit it deserves because people think it's darker or rougher and whatnot. But the war in the Pacific was a totally different type of war, and since it came out after Band of Brothers, people kind of wrote it off. Both were excellently done, but it got me thinking. I was watching. It's always on Memorial Day and the 4th of July. I was watching it yesterday off and on throughout my work day, and was watching it last night when I got home. And I was just sitting there thinking, people like the 104th Airborne, what they would think of our country right now, and what we've done with it. And we need to do more because of what they've done. And I don't want to get into super serious conversations like we had last week, but more and more keeps coming out about the shootings and more that almost have happened recently. And it's like, people, do we not realize what our country or people have sacrificed for us? And this is what we're doing with it. It literally almost depresses me more than seeing the next shooting in the news about just the fact that we are wasting all these opportunities, all of them. We're wasting them, and it's a damn shame. So
Yeah,
I mean,
I mean, I agree, and I think it's really a sad time right now in this country, and I believe that we're better than that as a country. I mean, I remember I talked about it, on Monday when we talked about the show, or I guess it was last week when we had the show and we talked about the shootings. And, I remember when 9/11 happened, and it was like the first real true time when is at least that I can remember, maybe when I was a kid, but as an adult, where this country like banded together as one. And there was nothing, political lines aside, like that nobody cared. Like everything today seems to come with a political tag. Like it's like the shootings, and now you have the two factions going at it again. And it's like, stop. Can we just agree to agree that this country's messed up right now and needs to be change? Why does it always have to be politicized? Every single thing is politicized. And it's hurtful. It's hurtful especially to those people that you just mentioned that have died for this country and put their life on the line. And it's absolute disgraceful. It's disrespectful. Like, we need to come together. Just get along, people. Just love your neighbor. Do something nice for somebody.
I mean, I don't know about you. I mean, I'll let you know if you go in a second. But I mean, my father was in the Coast Guards. I mean, he didn't see any action. I mean, he was in Alaska during Vietnam, and he was in Florida. He was stationed out in Miami for other parts of his tour. My grandfather. I mean, I never met him. He passed away before I was alive. He was a medic during the Normandy invasion, and my dad. I always asked, I'm like, well, what did he talk about? Like, wouldn't say a word about what happened. It changed him for he's a different person supposedly for the rest of his life. I've had a few employees do tours in Afghanistan and overseas, and came back completely different people. So we need to do more with what we've got now because of them. A good friend of the show, Kyle, he watches a lot of our shows, and he's going through some things personally right now. But you know what? He did multiple tours, and you know what? The things that he probably saw. We need to do more for the people like them that have given up so much, not just their lives, but the ones that come back, the mental state of it that they're in when they come back. We've got to do more. The shooting's got to stop. The division of this country, dude. You know what? I don't get political, but then you hear after the shooting last week in Texas, and you see people like Ted Cruz come out in his speeches on how to change things. It just disgusts me. It does. I don't even know what else to say about it other than let's do more with what they've done for us. I don't know. Did anybody in your family serve, Jason?
My grandfather.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in World War II, obviously, but he never really talked about it at all. Like, I tried to talk to him about it, but he always like kind of avoided the subject.
A lot of them did. A lot of them did.
So,
Q.
and you know, obviously, we can understand why. I mean, obviously, stuff happened that no one really wants to, nor
They
should
don't want to relive it.
No,
The
exactly.
great thing, you should go watch Band of Brothers because Band of Brothers is great. It's well done. But the best part of every episode, before every episode, they have the real people that the characters are portraying giving, not speeches, but commentary on what it was like. So, Major Lieutenant Winters, whatever. He's one of the, a famous, officer from World War II. I mean, they've got the real person, real Lieutenant Winters, talking. They've got the real guys speaking about those moments, and you can just see the fear, the sadness, and the upsetness in their face as they're talking about this. They didn't want to remember it. It's a shame. Hey, side note, great sweatshirt. I love when you wear that sweatshirt. Sorry.
I appreciate you.
You stretched out like this, and I didn't notice it all show until you stretched out there. Look, let's transition to close this show. Let's not talk sadness. Let's talk the other end of Happy Memorial Day, and that's everybody gets to have some fun because of what they gave. Barbecues, people are on vacation. It's a long weekend. Everybody but us, retail workers, we don't know what Memorial Day weekend's like because we're always working on Memorial Day weekend. For Overreaction Monday, I'm going to say my biggest Overreaction Monday statement ever. Going to the shore on Memorial Day weekend is the dumbest freaking thing in the world. Why do you want to go to the Jersey Beach? First off, the Jersey Beach is like the biggest, dumbest beaches that are in this country. Why would you want to go to the Jersey Shore and fight millions of people and traffic and crowds and overpriced hotels and overpriced rental houses and elbow to elbow deep in the ocean? Why would you want to do that? They just fought for your freedom. So you can enjoy Memorial Day weekend, and that's what you choose to do with it? Come on now. The Jersey Shore sucks, period. But also on top of that, going Memorial Day weekend or the 4th of July weekend is the absolute dumbest thing in the world. Do you agree? Or do you agree to disagree on that one?
No, I happen to agree with you. I think it's overrated. I think the beach in general is overrated. Like,
I love the beach.
I love the beach. I love, the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
But I just think that going on certain holidays, yes, especially Memorial Day, because it's like the first, trek of everybody going down there. And it's like, what you're going to be fighting against.
The unofficial opening.
Yeah, exactly. The traffic to me is what makes
a 2-hour drive. It'll take you 6 hours to get there. It's like, why would you do that? You spend 6 hours in your car to drive a 2-hour drive. You get down there for 2 days, and then you got to drive 6 hours back in the traffic. Screw that shit. I'm not doing that.
I'd rather go on like some, Tuesday in June, maybe late June when nobody's down there, like, or not nobody's down there, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm not fighting all this traffic.
The Jersey Shore sucks. Secondly, Ocean City, Maryland is better. Some of the Delaware beaches are even better. And hell, if you're willing to like just search on a map, there's plenty of rivers and lakes and different things around this country, and even this state of Pennsylvania and in New Jersey that are better. Like, we found this little mountain house. It's right on a little river. No traffic, no congestion. There's plenty of better places to spend on the water than the Jersey Shore.
Well, I agree. If I go to the Jersey Shore, though, I will say I do like LBI. I think LBI is like more peaceful, more family oriented, and it's very beautiful as far as going there. Obviously people go to Wildwood. It's not called Childwood, for a reason. I mean, that's why, obviously it's the party, capital of the shore. Ocean City is pretty overrated. Like, a lot of people say Ocean City, but I agree. I think Ocean City, Maryland, if I want to get the best for my money, I'm either going to Ocean City, Maryland, or I'm going to like Dewey Beach down in Delaware.
Even those have crowds too, obviously.
Well, they have everywhere has crowds, but I'm just saying, like, it's just more, the atmosphere to me is better, and you're not dealing with all the chaos and the young, the young kids and stuff like that. So,
All right, barbecues on the Memorial Day. I mean, I'll be at work today. The pizza shop's open today. I'll make pizzas for like 4 people today, probably. Most people will be barbecuing. It's going to be like 90. It's going to be sunny out. You're going to be working. I'm going to be working. So we're not going to be barbecuing today. But if you're going to a Memorial Day barbecue, or if you are hosting a Memorial Day barbecue, what are you putting on your menu as your favorite barbecue foods that you are serving to your guests at your Memorial Day barbecue?
well, obviously, the easy answer and the easy way out is burgers and hot dogs. But they're the staples. So they have to be. They're the staples. They have to be involved, but they're not the main. So I'm going to be going with the burgers and the hot dogs. I'm also going to have my Italian sausage on the grill. Nothing like it.
Nothing
and
like
then
it.
obviously the main encore's got to be ribs. It's got to be.
All right.
And it's got to be done right, like either in a smoker or like a slow.
Absolutely. I don't have a smoker, so I like. So when I do my ribs are one of my number one thing. Ribs and chicken. I don't even want the hot dogs. I don't want the burgers. Ribs and chicken. You got to let that chicken marinate for 36, 48 hours at a minimum. Ribs and chicken, they're my go-to. I don't have a slow cooker. I don't have a smoker. Someday I will. So what I do with my ribs, I clean them. I clean the membrane off. I marinate them, wrap them in foil, put them in my oven for 2-3 hours, like really low, kind of semi-slow cook them. And then I take them out, brush them with the sauce, and then I grill them to finish them. And then I love chicken. Got to have corn on the cob. It's a must-have always. And, Adam's saying ribs and potato salad. No offense, Adam. Melissa makes a pretty banging potato salad and pasta salad. I do the chicken and the ribs. Melissa does the sides. She makes really good potato and pasta salad. Got to have the corn on the cob. I love, especially when I'm doing chicken and mac and ribs, I like mac and cheese. It's not a grill, but I love mac and cheese with my barbecue. Got to have some mac and cheese, preferably homemade if I'm not feeling lazy. And I'm forgetting something. Oh, the new thing that we always do now is homemade jalapeno poppers on the grill. Get the jalapeno, put some cream cheese and sausage, you wrap them in bacon, put them on the grill, put them out as a side dish. As long as you don't mind the jalapenos. If you don't like spicy, scrape the seeds out of them. You got to have homemade jalapeno poppers wrapped in bacon for your barbecue. It is the most underappreciated, underrated little side thing. The Giant by my store will make them for you. Or you can just do them yourself if you don't mind a little work. Put them on the grill, crisp that bacon up really good, get a nice little char on the pepper. Gotta love it. It's a staple.
Making me hungry here, Phil. Yeah.
All I ate today was 2 Eggo waffles so far and a cup of coffee and a glass of water. Now I'm hungry.
The side that I probably enjoy the most is baked beans. I love baked beans.
I do like baked. You know what? I used to think baked beans were boring, and then as I've gotten older and learned how to cook a little bit more, I've learned how to make baked beans actually taste really good. Whether you put bacon in,
doctor them up,
doctoring up baked, and I actually cook them in the cast iron skillet. I like warm them up and get a little char on them, and put the cast iron skillet on the grill. Gives them that little smoky char flavor to them. There is ways to do them pretty good. Big Ed saying Mark's mom in the kitchen getting everything ready for the barbecue. I'm guessing that's right now. A good Italian barbecue. My grandma actually never really did much barbecue. She was always the pasta. My dad and my German side did the barbecue, and the Italian side saved it for holiday dinners that were on the inside. I don't think I ever saw my grandma make anything barbecue related, honestly. I mean, she made everything great, but that's that. All right, Mark. I'm saying Mark. It's Jason. Yeah, I'm hungry now. I'm hangry. I'm hangry.
You made me hungry, dude.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me refresh Twitter one more time. Did Joe Girardi get fired? Nope. Still not fired yet? Nope.
It's a pipe dream, dude.
It is. But it's a pipe dream that needs to happen. Honestly. It absolutely needs to happen. Anyway, we're going to wrap up the show today there. Again, happy Memorial Day to everybody. Again, remember what today is about. It's not about the barbecues. It's not about the parades. It's not about the fireworks tonight. Again, and please, fireworks, overrated, especially for dog owners. Thanks for everybody checking in. Adam, Mark, Joe, everybody. A lot of people, George, everybody, Steve. So many people checking in today. Much appreciated. Remember what today's about. Let's hope Joe Girardi's fired. Hopefully that gives us a topic for tomorrow. Otherwise, I got a long list of football topics to start going into this week as we get a little closer to training camp. Everybody have a great day. I'm going to take us off the screen. A little moment of silence to remember those. And then we'll see you guys tomorrow right here, Trending in the AM on DSM Media. Make sure you're following us, subscribe, et cetera, et cetera. You know the drill. We'll see you tomorrow, 8:30 a.m., guys.